We managed to plan an intimate elopement ceremony in just under 4 weeks, costing us $2,500. The average cost for a wedding in the United States is $30,000. The average cost for an elopement is between $5,000 and $15,000. Hi everyone, my name is Yasmin and I am so excited to finally share with all of you the details of how my husband Suraj and I planned our elopement ceremony. In this video, I will cover exactly how we stayed on budget and were able to pull everything together so quickly. If this is your first time watching, Suraj and I met while I was living in New York City and he was living in London. We fell in love, got engaged, and underwent a very stressful immigration process in order to finally be able to get married and live together in the US. Our circumstances for getting married quickly and on a tight budget might be different than yours, but I still hope to share helpful tips along the way to help you with your journey of arranging an elopement ceremony on a fast timeline or a tight budget, or even both. You have probably clicked on this video if you are getting married soon, so congratulations. I know that we hear all the time that weddings are supposed to be one of the most stressful times for any couple to go through. So hopefully this video helps simplify your life and alleviate any and all of your stress. As I mentioned, Suraj and I specifically chose an elopement ceremony as we were going through a crazy immigration process at the same time. But that being said, there are plenty of other reasons to have an intimate ceremony with a few guests, or even no guests as we have chosen. Looking back on the experience, we absolutely loved our wedding day and have no regrets about our decision. There is so much that can go into making your day perfect for you, but that's the beauty of an elopement ceremony. You have the opportunity to make all the best decisions for you and your partner and have a day that you will never forget. I also feel that Suraj and I are both super proud of how much money we were able to save through little decisions that were made along the way. We were able to save all the money that we didn't spend on a wedding and use it to invest in our new apartment, fly to visit family and friends, and save for future adventures. So it was the best decision that we could have made for ourselves. In this video, I will take you through every decision point that we had, the debates that we held on the pros and cons of each options, areas where we chose to save money, and ones where we chose to invest. We truly hope that this helps you plan your own memorable elopement ceremony. As I mentioned, Suraj and I were going through a very particular immigration process that led us to arrange a ceremony in only 4 weeks. That may not be applicable to you specifically, but there are plenty of other reasons why couples choose to get married or elope quickly. In our case, Suraj and I applied for a fiancé K-1 visa for us to get married in the United States. During the time that he was patiently waiting for his visa to be issued in London, he finally received his K-1 visa printed in his passport on May 2nd, 2024, and we arranged flights and the entire wedding ceremony by May 30th, 2024. With just under 4 weeks to pull everything together. For those that are going through the same K-1 visa journey, the conditions of the visa states that each couple has 90 days to make their marriage official from the time the fiancé steps foot in the United States. We chose to officialize our marriage as fast as possible upon Suraj entering the US, but you may choose to wait a few weeks or even months. Whatever you choose in terms of timeline, I know that everything that I will cover in this video will still be super helpful to you and your partner. Thinking back on the process, I'm not sure that we had a specific budget in mind. As I already shared, we researched that the average elopement cost was between $5,000 to $15,000, and we knew that this number seemed higher than we would have liked. So we were aiming for around $3,000 in terms of our elopement ceremony budget. We also discussed that we would personally prefer to save our money for things like traveling around the US together, going on a cruise, and being able to visit family and friends. So this budget made sense for us. We did collaborate on a wedding budget spreadsheet that allowed us to keep meticulous track of all the costs associated with our ceremony. It also helped to show us when we were getting close to our total budget and knew when we should be pumping the brakes on a few larger expenses. We also had some costs where we paid a portion upfront and were due to pay the remainder at the ceremony. So this helped us to keep track of those outstanding payments too. We made our spreadsheet into a downloadable template for you all to use if you would like. I can leave a link to the spreadsheet template in the description box if it helps you with your wedding planning. Because of both our timeline and budget, we did debate a courthouse wedding. On one hand, a courthouse wedding would allow us to easily officialize our wedding with the courts, get the documents that we needed, and be able to file the next stage of our immigration paperwork swiftly. But this was where we might have taken the pricier route in some ways. Upon researching a courthouse wedding, we saw that courthouse weddings provided very little options in terms of choosing a specific officiant or photographer, and we really did have some specific elements in mind. So we did ultimately decide to organize our own officiant, location, photographer, etc., in order to have a small piece of what we both truly envisioned for our intimate wedding ceremony. Our personal vision wasn't a courthouse elopement, so we decided to forego this option, even if it would have saved us money and a lot of logistics. As I had mentioned, we really want to take you through our thought process as it may help you navigate your own planning. For Suraj and I, our vision was to have a beach ceremony at sunrise. One key criteria that was very specific to our immigration case was that we had to officialize our marriage in the US as opposed to anywhere else abroad. In our case, we were debating between Florida or Hawaii, as both could provide us with the beachside, palm tree, sunrise wedding that we envisioned. When we researched Hawaii, we found that we could only apply for a marriage license in person. And we also read that marriage licenses would only be mailed to you within 4 to 6 weeks. Again, in our specific case, we needed all the paperwork faster than this. So Hawaii, for many reasons, was sadly a no. So we focused our research efforts on Florida. This is a teeny tiny aside, but seems like the right time to add this in. We had not thought of this until planning the logistics of our sunrise wedding. But we needed to find a beach specifically facing east so that the sun can rise up behind us during the ceremony. And I know that this may seem like a stupid detail to add, but the direction of the sun can really make or break your pictures. So hopefully it encourages you to think through this when choosing your timing as well as your venue. We narrowed our search on the eastern side of the Florida Keys as it felt the most tropical and exotic, and then researched specific beaches that did not require a city permit. We had not realized that to stand on a public beach to get married required a permit for many areas. So something to be aware of for a beach or any other public place is to make sure that you don't need a public permit. We used our spreadsheet to track and summarize the specifics relating to each venue and finally decided on our winner. So our venue cost for us was $0. This was a super cool thing that we found out and got very, very lucky. But the state of Florida allows you to complete your marriage license application via Zoom. It was so cool to be sworn in by a judge over Zoom and finalizing our marriage application. It almost didn't even feel real. By completing our marriage application over Zoom, it already started the timer for the 3-day waiting period in the state, which meant that we could get married immediately upon arriving in Florida. There are honestly so many things that we learned through this process that were not covered by any YouTube video out there, so I really hope that these details are helping. So please be sure to research A, whether you can apply for a marriage license virtually, B, if your state has a waiting period from the time you apply to the time you can make things official, C, whether it matters which county you apply for your license and officialize your license, and finally D, whether you need witnesses to be present for your marriage to be official. The cost of our marriage license was $89. So for my wedding dress, I had no idea what style of dress looked good on my body type. So I went to a standard wedding dress shop that had lots of different styles until I knew which overall shape I was looking for. if I wanted a veil, and what dress length I preferred. So that piece was probably months before our 30-day logistics whirlwind, but I didn't buy a dress just yet until closer to the time. Once we got the green light for Suraj to immigrate over to the US, then I sought out online bridal stores. Like many of you, I was very skeptical of those online wedding dress services and whether they were legit, especially with a tight time frame. But I saw really great reviews, so I decided to ultimately take a chance and go with Millie's Bridal. I was able to search through hundreds of different dress styles. My hunch is that they basically grab style pictures from all of these other sites and post it to their site as a massive wedding dress photo repository. And then brides like us can scroll through and find exactly what we're looking for. Once you decide on your style, you basically take your measurements with a soft measuring tape, and then they custom make the dress style that you chose to your measurements. Obviously, it may be a huge gamble for you, but it worked very well in my case. I paid a little extra for express shipping and was closely in touch with the team assigned to making my dress through email. They double-checked the sizing that they received, and I got my dress within 2 weeks of ordering. The only thing is that when my dress came, it was a little bit loose in some places, so I did buy double-stick outfit tape to essentially secure the dress to my body. I have a link to our Amazon storefront in the description box, and I'll make sure to link everything that I mentioned, including this double-sided tape. I also just wanted a simple white ballet flats as my shoes, since we would be on a beach and my dress was too long to see my shoes anyway. But Suraj had a great idea, which was to buy white wedding flip-flops so that I had shoes to change in and out of as we headed down to the beach. The cost of the dress that I chose plus the express shipping and the shoes came out to $329. We don't have too much advice for men's suits, but especially if you are like us and on a tight timeline and/or budget, definitely just order 3 or 4 suits if you can and take advantage of a lenient return policy. Suraj has a store that he loves in the UK where he ordered 4 different suits, chose one, and returned the rest for a refund. So the total cost of his suit was $219. This is where we splurged. I have absolutely no regrets about this, but we spent about half of our entire wedding budget on our rings. You may choose to make different choices, but for us, we saw this as our one and only ring exchange without any additions or modifications down the line, so we had to get it exactly right the first time. In anticipation of this tight timeline, we did have Suraj's ring finger sized, and we both already picked out styles that we were drawn towards, so that we were just ready to go. We also found an amazing ring shop that was able to get our rings done quickly, but even so, I believe that we waited anxiously for about 2 to 3 weeks until the call came to pick them up. One thing that I thought that was really cool was that Suraj wanted an engraving inside his wedding band, and they let us see the process of engraving in person when we came to pick up the ring. So that part was kind of like cool and unique for us. The total cost for both of our rings was $1,146. I did mention this briefly when I chatted about getting your wedding license, but just to reiterate, it's really important to check whether witnesses are required for your marriage to be considered official, which varies state by state. So a keynote here, always double check the witness requirements for your state. In the state of Florida, witnesses are not required. This was another key criteria for why we chose Florida, since our wedding was just going to be the 2 of us plus an officiant. The officiant that we chose was really communicative and reached out in advance to find ways to make the ceremony authentic to the 2 of us. She also asked if we were looking to share a first dance at the conclusion of the ceremony, or if we were planning to even write our own vows. All these little details were things that I really appreciated in having a great officiant who wanted to make our day special for us. My only recommendation here would be to find an officiant that feels right for the 2 of you, and to not feel any remorse if it's not a good fit. This day is so special and so intimate that you want someone who you feel super comfortable with. The cost of our wedding officiant was $290. Suraj and I found the profiles of various local photographers through Instagram and Facebook. Oh, that's another tip. Once you find your venue or general location, definitely join a Facebook group by searching things like Florida Keys weddings, as many vendors like photographers are also on there and can correspond with you quickly over their costs as well as availability. The photographer that we chose captured pictures of us both during and after the ceremony. We had a 20-minute ceremony and then an hour of pictures following the ceremony. We were able to get the pictures back within 10 days after the ceremony to be able to share with our close family and friends. The cost of our photographer was $231. This is where I start getting really excited to share these hacks with you. Suraj and I did not hire a videographer. They were so expensive and our ceremony was going to be so brief, but we still wanted to capture every single moment. So we created our own little studio setup by placing our phone on a tripod in front of the sunrise in our ceremony, hitting record, and capturing audio by buying 2 clip-on microphones in advance. It honestly was the coolest thing that we did, and I would highly recommend this. The audio comes out so clearly and the video isn't shaky with someone emotional watching the ceremony or moving your camera around. It was absolutely perfect. I can't recommend it enough. Be your own videographer for the day and save hundreds if not thousands of dollars. Once you have all these other elements in place, it's now down to the nuts and bolts such as the timing of the ceremony. This might be where your jaws fall to the floor, but we really love the idea of a sunrise wedding. So our wedding ceremony was planned for 6:30 a.m. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but we both set our alarms for 3:30 a.m. so that I could do all my own hair and makeup, which I'll get into next. But between 3:30 and 6:30, my amazing almost husband was filling me up with coffee and breakfast, so that was one of the many cute memories of our getting ready process. Again, it's not for everyone to wake up that early, but it worked in our case, and the beach was completely deserted for the ceremony, and we got our beautiful, picturesque sunrise wedding. There are hundreds of thousands of wedding day makeup and hair tutorials, and I am truly not the right person to help you with that journey, but I did want to make a few notes of things to share with you based on my own personal experience. Just to reiterate, I did everything myself. I am not a professional at all, and we got married during a very hot, humid Florida sunrise. The first thing I wanted to make sure of was that my makeup was sweat-proof. I searched thoroughly for every single item I would need to set my makeup so that I didn't sweat through it by the time we did our photography session after the ceremony. I did buy some makeup specifically for the wedding day, things like setting spray or foundation or primer, and I was able to trial it on myself in advance. I also wanted to be brave and try applying my own fake lashes, but that did not work out on the wedding day at all. Now thinking about it, it makes me laugh so much because imagine this. It's 4 a.m. on my wedding day and I'm remembering my sister-in-law previously coaching me and saying, pinch your false lashes onto your lashes, count to 10, and gently let go. And my fingers came away with my false lashes still on them. So that was a complete toss, but everything else about my makeup worked out fine. A final note on makeup before I move on to hair is that Suraj did actually buy me this really cute handheld USB rechargeable fan that we brought with us to the beach. So I could fan myself in case I did start sweating, and it really helped a lot. So if you're considering any warm climate elopement ceremonies, buy a fan. For the hair, I might have treated myself a little. I had been eyeing the Dyson Airwrap for years and finally had the excuse to buy it. I'm just gonna consider it as a wedding shower gift to myself. I watched so many YouTube and TikTok videos on how to use it, but the truth is, I took a huge gamble by buying it the day before we drove to the Keys and only tried it for the very first time on our wedding day. Anyway, I won't bore you with my hair details, but I'm just trying to amuse you on the pieces where we just had to take a risk given our tight timeline. I wouldn't change anything that we did, and I'm not sure whether you're on a budget or a tight timeline, but my personal opinion is Buy the hair extensions, buy the tools. If you want, you can even buy a sparkly hair accessory and just do it yourself. In my opinion, it truly was not worth the one-off cost of having someone do my hair for me, plus having the trial. Just do it yourself. I believe in you. Excluding the Dyson, I spent around $65 on my own makeup and hair accessories. I would love to see other couples doing this too, because I just thought that it was so sweet. But given that we got ready for our intimate elopement ceremony together, we drove to the beach together, and obviously officialized our wedding together, I didn't want Suraj and I to miss out on the opportunity of capturing our first look. I know that it's silly, and I'm not even 100% sure that they do this in other cultures or even countries, but I really wanted a first look. So Suraj and I set up our phone on a tripod, got dressed in separate rooms so that we could come out and see each other and capture the moment, and it was so perfect. It was absolutely everything that I wanted, so that's my little bonus snippet for you to borrow from us. You won't regret it. We debated a real bouquet versus a fake bouquet. I think at one point I had even asked the officiant if they had a spare one, but we did choose a fake flower route. We went to Walmart together the day before our ceremony and chose a $10 bouquet of fake flowers. Suraj is actually much more color and design centric than I am, so he actually chose my bouquet for me. I just told him purple accents and he went to town. I bought a roll of burlap ribbon and we made a cute little art project out of it. I thought it looked great in the final pictures, and you truly do not even notice the difference. I thought it might be useful just to summarize everything that Suraj and I packed to get down to our elopement ceremony. It was just the two of us, and our hotel where we got ready was 20 minutes drive, so we made a list in advance of everything that we would want to have with us either in the car or down by the beach in case we needed it. Water bottles, protein bars, double-sided outfit tape, bouquet, hairspray, hairpins, lipstick, oil blotting paper, an already charged handheld USB fan, a tripod, already charged up clip-on microphones, band-aids, many tissues, post-ceremony flip-flops, dental floss, our written vows, 2 copies of each, both of our wedding bands, the marriage certificate, plus non-bleed-through black ink pen, a clipboard or something hard to write on, as well as any outstanding payments or tips for vendors. Why are there no resources for what to do after the ceremony? Why did I have to search so hard for this information? In any case, once the officiant officializes your ceremony, you are still not legally married until you register your marriage license with the courts. In the state of Florida, you have 10 days from the time that you officiate your ceremony to return your license to the courts so that they can make an official record of your marriage in the county. You do not need to submit your license to the specific county in which you were officialized. You can go to any court county within the state and submit your license there. You will then receive 1 complimentary certified copy. In Florida, any additional certified copy of your marriage license costs $3. If for any reason you move away from this county or even the state, it becomes much more difficult to get these certified copies. As we were going through immigration paperwork, and because we are highly organized and thorough individuals, we actually requested 10 certified copies. So our total cost was $30. One or both of you may choose to change your last name after the ceremony has been made official. If you choose to immediately change your name, this certified marriage certificate can help kickstart the process of where you can begin to change your name on your state driver's license, with Social Security, on your passport, etc. It's a very long process to change your name in so many different places, but one that I personally chose to go through, and these numerous certified copies will really go a long way. Looking back on the experience, we absolutely loved our intimate elopement ceremony and have no regrets about our decision. There is so much that can go into making your day perfect for you. And that's the beauty of an elopement ceremony. We love sharing our journey with you and hope that it helps you with your own wedding planning. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comments below and click subscribe to follow along with our journey.